I'm Spider-Man, the protector of Queens.
That sucked.
Hi, I'm Spidey, your friendly neighbor.
Jeez.
It's showtime.
What's up, webheads? Welcome back to your number one film podcast in the world. Your friendly neighborhood hub where we swing between the movies we love, movies we hate, and movies we love to hate. Today, we're breaking down the story of our Queen's youngest Avenger. I'm Sparsh, and joining us today is our guest and my brother from the same mother, Sahilaria. And together, we're webbing you into the world of Spider Man Homecoming. I'm a big fan of rivalries. I think one of my favorite thing about like even in movies, I always really enjoy when even if there's it's the bad guy, but I do like him being there because he really creates this like kind of like an electric charge between electrons,
Yeah,
and that's really enticing to
yeah.
watch.
I mean, I think competition breeds excellence
Mm-hmm.
because it pushes you to do better and be better,
Yeah.
right? When you see your rival do something, you want to better that, and they see you better that, and then they want to better your achievement, and it just keeps going and going. So until you come to a point where there is two individuals or two teams or two groups just pushing each other to the absolute fullest.
That's exactly why I love superhero movies, because what makes a superhero so great is the supervillain,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's always that supervillain who first shows up, does something chaotic, and then you feel like, oh, this hero has like lost all hope, but then he puts in the work, makes the training, does all the, goes through his whole character arc to
Mm.
finally then get the tools to defeat him. And that defeat you see is kind of, in my opinion, is what really makes it so fun and so entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, you had this guy, and you're like, ah, come on, he's just a kid, right? Like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right? And one thing that makes Spider-Man such a great superhero is because all throughout the books we've had, all the comic books, the TV shows, animated, or the movies, I think we have nine of them now. Eight.
Eh,
Eight.
I mean, and then there's two
Oh,
Spider Verse
to
movies.
10. Yeah, true.
10.
Yeah, what makes them great is like having such a cool ass supervillain.
Yeah, I mean, for me, yeah, I mean, I think Spider Man does have really cool villains. Uh, but yeah, I think I'm just such a Spider Man fan because I think Spider Man's the only hero who's not a man in terms
Mm-hmm.
of being grown up adult.
Yeah.
Most other superheroes are all adults.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're a kid growing up, Spider-Man is the one who you just really relate to the most because that's just someone who's just like you and who's kind of goofy and clumsy and a bit nerdy and bit of a loner in school and not the most popular kid. So
Yeah.
growing up, it's just so easy to relate to him.
Okay. Wow, I never thought about it that way, but that's so true. Because I remember we watched Homecoming, right? And those scenes where he has when he's trying to like, I think it's Karen, is the name of the AI robot in his suit,
Yeah,
and she's showing him pictures of like because he's trying to just go back to the memory of like who the person was,
yeah,
and then she shows him just standing in front of the mirror with the mask on
yeah,
and impersonating different superheroes. And yeah, that's so true. Like as a kid you do all those things,
yeah.
right? I mean, so many times I remember when I was a kid, I used to not be very popular in school, and oftentimes when I would be at home, I would like imagine, like I was because I used to watch a lot of like Power Rangers and Spider-Man. So like get up on my bed and like fight imaginary villains. And yeah, did you ever do anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all do, right? And it's just a different version of people practicing their Oscar speeches,
Hmm.
right? It's about you living in that one hypothetical moment which takes you away from your universe into dreamland.
Yeah. What is your first iteration of Spider-Man that you were introduced to?
Spider-Man, I mean, I grew up watching the animated series of Spider-Man, which used to be really cool,
Hmm.
and it had great music. And then, just as I was growing up, there was the Spider-Man computer game,
Hmm. Oh yeah.
which was one of the first, or definitely, I think if there were superhero video games I played, I think it was Spider-Man, and then I think it was the Spider-Man 3 which came out on the PlayStation 3.
Hmm.
But yeah, so it was just a lot of that, and then Spider-Man came out as a movie,
Yep.
and that was amazing.
Right.
Not that that was the amazing Spider-Man movie, but uh, it was a
Yeah.
pretty good movie. And yeah, I mean, Tobey Maguire was amazing. He was great. Though I'm just so biased towards Tom Holland as my favorite Spider-Man. I
Yeah.
mean, I get attachments towards both of the other ones, but yeah, I think Tom just does it for me in terms of the kind of energy he brings to the character.
Mm-hmm.
The way he talks, he moves, he's the right age, he's in high school.
Yeah.
Not that the other two were also not in high school.
But they didn't look like they were in high
In high
school.
school. Also just like how he moves as Spider-Man. Like when you see his, no, I mean I can't say Andrew Garfield doesn't either, because Andrew Garfield has a couple of my favorite Spider-Man scenes of all time. Uh, but yeah, just on the whole, Tom
No.
Holland. Oh my.
Oftentimes, what I missed in Tobey Maguire's and Andrew Garfield was they didn't really have that match in characters.
Mm-hmm.
Where I felt Tobey Maguire was really good as Peter Parker, and he really demanded the audience's emotion. But as Spider-Man, he wasn't like the goofy, still trying to figure out superhero and trying to like learn from his mistakes. He was a lot more serious
Mm-hmm.
compared to Andrew Garfield, who was really good as Spider-Man. Like I think one of the best swingings I've seen in Spider-Man
Mm-hmm.
movies has been his movements and crawling as well. But his side of Peter Parker seemed a little emotionally weak all the time. There was never like any Peter Parker's winning here. And
Mm-hmm.
then, yeah, Tom Holland just is the perfect, the combination of both worlds.
Yeah, I mean, I had a great time with Tom Holland. I was so excited when they announced him as Spider-Man
Mm-hmm.
during first Civil War, and when the first trailer came out,
Yeah.
and I was the moment the trailer came out, I was so excited that wow, Spider-Man is going to be in this, and I was
Because it'd been a long time, right? From Amazing Spider-Man 2 to coming to, uh, what do you call it,
Civil
Civil
War.
War. There had been a bunch of other movies, and we hadn't had Spider-Man in a long time. Wanted.
Spider-Man belonged to Sony, right?
Oh,
Sony had movie rights, and it was after a lot of back and forth that they agreed to let Marvel use Spider-Man in their movies.
do you know anything more about like how it like worked? Because I do remember, like even now, I think Sony shows up on like all Spider-Man movies.
It's because when Marvel gave Sony the rights to Spider-Man initially back in early 2000, when they were basically giving rights to all the characters and anyone who other studios would think were worthy.
Mm-hmm.
So, Fox took X-Men and Fantastic Four, and Sony took rights for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And they obviously had great success with the first trilogy with Tobey Maguire, and then they did the reboot with Andrew Garfield. And I mean, Marvel launched into the MCU
Oh yeah.
just off the backs of Iron Man. They never really expected it to be the astronomical game changer it was going to be. So then, when it came to getting the rights for Spider Man, I guess Sony just didn't want to play ball.
They were like, oh, we want to not
Yeah,
give him away so easy.
yeah, because what Marvel said was, Sony, you make your own Spider Man movies, and we will allow you to, bring in our Marvel superheroes as and how and when you want them. And you allow us to use Spider-Man in our movies, because Avengers had obviously
Yeah.
become a thing in 2012, right?
Yeah.
And they definitely wanted to bring Spider-Man into the fold. But yeah, I mean, it's just been a waiting game with Fox and Sony to wrangle back and find agreements and rights on Fantastic Four
Yeah.
and the X-Men and Spider-Man, so as to just be able to run into everything.
Yeah. That's crazy. Can you imagine like somebody comes and tells you like, hey, we have like all these superheroes who people love right now, and we want another character that you have, and we're happy to just give you these characters whenever you want. And this person is like, no.
Yeah, having a vision is not the easiest
Right?
skill set.
Does that like happen often where it's like, because I'm guessing the main power is always with these executives and the executive producers, and so they play like their own favorites, and then only those movies get made that are people who have been nice and good books of
I
these.
mean, it's just the game of the industry, right? And it's always people are always going to favor the ones they like more.
Mm-hmm.
People are always going to hand out and grant favors. Some will be out of pure benevolence, some will be out of selfish agendas, some will be out of getting things in return. When a studio head gets replaced,
Yeah.
they suddenly, no, irrespective of the quality of projects on the slate, they pretty much chop and change everything,
True.
and they try and build their own slate, because you want to make a mark, leave a mark, you want to be exposed and take a risk on the things on the people so it always ebbs and flows. Some things are good, some things are bad, but
Mm.
that is just the balance of life.
And how does one become like an executive producer for like say like a studio? Because then I'm guessing a lot of people want that position.
I mean, you have to do the right things and know the right people.
Okay, so it's not like a job where you like enter and then you're working hard, working hard, working hard. Going.
No, I mean, there is, like, Kevin Feige today runs Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
He was at one point of time a production assistant on the set of X-Men in 1997.
Is that how old X-Men is? Like the first one?
Yes.
Whoa. Because I do remember seeing it and being like, whoa, this is really old. But
Yeah, that's
1997.
1997.
Wow.
I mean, imagine Hugh Jackman was Wolverine then, and Hugh Jackman is Wolverine right now.
No, yeah. There was a story about him going to, because he was coming to America for the audition for Wolverine,
I
and
know that story.
he didn't really know what Wolverine was. He had like, oh, this is a comic book hero coming up. Okay, cool, I'll go do that. And he used to be like so lean and scrawny, um, and then he started working out for it. He went there earlier. I think immigration also used to be like so much easier. They're like, hey, I'm trying to do this audition here. Can I just come travel? Uh, he came, got stopped at the airport. The guy who stopped him asked him like, hey, what are you coming for? And he's like, yeah, I'm working for this comic book movie, X-Men. and immediately the guy was like, "What?" And then it's like, "What role are you playing?" And then Hugh Jackman was like, "Oh, Wolverine," and then the guy just completely lost it. So yeah, man, it's really crazy to see how so long ago all these ideas got conceived, and some guy was like, "I'll audition for this." Like even Tom Holland, his first audition tape for Marvel was with John Brenthal. They were doing a movie together,
Mm-hmm.
and they had shot the audition tapes for each other because he was auditioning for Punisher
Mm-hmm.
and he was auditioning for Spider-Man Homecoming. And I think John Brenthal was watching an interview of his, and he talked about how he gave the idea to Tom Holland that, oh, in your audition tape you should have like you should because he was like fit Tom Holland, that you should come and like do like a backflip, and then I'll throw the boot, and then you kind of do the web.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something because he was like, there'll be so many people who are like trying to do this role, and you're new and nobody really knows you. You're like a British actor, not really famous. Why? Spider-Man is like a big role.
No way he really said you're not that famous.
Not those exact
Uh,
words, but he actually like uh,
yeah,
kind of
he would just
implied.
like go put in the extra effort to stand out.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's like, because all the other people are gonna be trying to be like Spider-Man, they can't do a backflip, right? And so this is gonna really put you, and that kind of what you were saying earlier, like Tom Holland fits that character so well, is because he's actually putting in the work and doing all those stunts by himself
Yeah.
as well, and those really come off so great. Um, what was kind of like your first opinion on the movie?
It's got so many cool things happening in there,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's a very emotional journey too
Yeah.
for just Peter Parker and Spider Man, because I mean he comes back from Civil War with his new suit and everything, right? And you can see he just wants to work hard and do the right thing, but how he goes from losing the suit to realizing that, you know, and it goes back to that line he says to Tony, right, where he's like, "I'm nothing without the suit, Mr. Stark." And when the during the final scene with the Vulture, when he drops the building on him, and he's under the rubble and he's looking at his mask in the water and half
Yeah.
of his reflection, and that's when he realizes that he is Spider-Man, right? It's not the mask, it's not the suit, it's not anything, it's him.
Yeah.
It's his will, his determination to be good and do the right thing and to help people. And yeah, and outside of that, I think the movie's just great. I think the characters are really good. Him in high school, all of the other characters like Flash and Ned.
Great chemistry too,
I
him
think
and
the
Ned.
Vulture is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you compare, so if you look at it, first all the three Spider-Man movies,
Mm-hmm.
first part, all three of them have a green villain:
Oh yeah.
the Goblin, the Lizard, and now the
Vulture.
Vulture.
Yeah. There are so many supervillains in Marvel,
Mm-hmm.
and the Vultures, because the opening scene, begins with them scavenging that Shitori
Yeah,
energy cores and trying to like, clean, basically getting paid for cleanup.
yeah.
And then they come up with the idea that, oh, we can use this to make weapons after they're like, what's,
After their contract gets taken away.
yeah, right, by Stark himself. And that origin story of Falcon, and the first time you see him, I was just thinking about how comparatively to like other villains that we've had, it's so nice and it's such a strong character.
Mm-hmm.
Also played by Michael Keaton,
Yeah.
who like
Brings so much to the character,
so much.
right? A great actor adds so much value. It's amazing because, yeah, then just everything is for the reason.
Yeah.
And no, he's so exciting as a vulture because it's not that he was just a bad guy who wanted to do bad things,
Mm-hmm.
but a good guy who made bad decisions for the reasons that he thought were good,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, it's a very, just a very comic book villain like villain.
Yeah.
Nothing world ending, earth shattering types, just friendly neighborhood Spider Man, friendly neighborhood villain.
Classic blue collar dad working his 9 to 9, scrapping metals for money to put his daughter through school.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately you have the bigger guy with the fancy lawyers and suits and guns who just show up and be like, okay, yeah, you're fired. We don't need your services anymore. So I think that's pretty natural human behavior to kind of revolt against that.
Yeah.
This movie is so full, like for Spider-Man fans and comic book fans, because you get the Vulture, you get Shocker, and you kind of get a hint at Scorpion as well. Plus, you get 3 Spider-Man suits that you
Mm-hmm.
kind of get to see
Which was the third one?
at the press conference before their. So it's the
Oh,
yeah,
when Tony shows him the Iron Spider suit, which he
yeah,
gets in Avengers, yeah.
which as a Spider-Man fan and as a Marvel fan and as a comic book fan, I was nutting literally. I was just like, oh my god, this is amazing.
What are your thoughts on the iron manification of Spider Man?
For the most part, I like it because you get to see him like have, because they went from Tobey Maguire having like basic web that comes out of your body to Andrew Garfield developing some kind of electrifying webs to now this guy who just has like a anything he can do,
Yeah.
right? But
Because Karen is like Jarvis, basically.
pretty much, exactly. I mean, yeah, exactly. Also, terrible name to give, right? Especially in like 2016 when Karen was at its top, and like you're a Karen.
I mean, I think it's great. I think there's so many Karens who would have been annoyed because of all the hate they get for
Yeah,
Karens. So it was great because there was a cool Karen. It was like,
cool
hey,
Karen.
Karen.
There's nothing known as a
Yeah.
cool Karen. But I did not like how much influence Tony Stark has in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because for a first solo movie
Mm-hmm.
for Spider-Man, you have a character who is there kind of putting Spider-Man into the shadows, because then everybody's like, oh, we have Iron Man. And obviously Robert Downey Jr., because he's been Iron Man,
Mm-hmm.
carries that presence and occupies that space when he's on screen. So as nice it was to have like, oh, like a kind of like a helping hand and have all this technology, I think it does take away a lot of like the how do I say this, the freedom of making those mistakes and then coming to the solution and realizations of those mistakes by himself. Like when he's crushed under the roof
Rubble, yeah.
and he's looking himself in the mask, he hears his sound, Tony saying, if you're nothing without the mask, without the suit, you shouldn't have the suit,
Mm-hmm.
right? Compared that to when you have Tobey Maguire, when he's lost his webbing powers, I think in the second part, because of internal dialogue and internal
Yeah.
dealings, and then he overcomes that. I enjoy that more compared to like, oh, this guy is like, okay, we know this guy is cool, so when he's coming here, it takes away the fear of like, oh, this guy's gonna get hurt, because you know that okay, Tony Stark is gonna come and save him.
So, for me, I think I stand on pretty much the other end of that point of view
Hmm.
because for me, I love having Tony Stark there.
Hmm.
Tony Stark brings in the parental guiding father figure. He fills in the space Uncle Ben does in Peter's life.
Hmm.
Both our other films give us an Uncle Ben.
True.
Um,
I don't think this movie even references Uncle Ben.
yeah, there's no reference of Uncle Ben, but if you actually just look at all of Tony's pieces of communication with Peter in the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been keeping super detailed track of everything Peter's doing,
Yep.
be it quitting band practice, be it
Churros.
doing eating, helping the lady who gave him the churros. Um, when Tony calls him, when Tony tells him the first time, when he saves him after his first interaction with the vulture and
Yeah.
he ends up in the water, Tony is like, you know, just please be careful,
Hmm.
right? All he does is give advice. He doesn't try and control or influence or do anything. All he does is give advice, be the friendly neighborhood Spider Man. When the incident in Washington happens and Peter then, like, Peter basically lies to him, right?
Yeah.
Where he's like, no, I'm good, I'm chilling, I'm here for band camp, etc. No, I think the band camp is
Bandcamp
is
comes
is,
later when they're on
is
the
during the
ferry.
ferry scene.
Yeah.
But during the ferry scene
He's called in to
is
thank, say
yeah,
good job.
when he calls in to say that that my father never respected me and trusted me that much,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I can be quick to jump the gun. So again, he's being that parental father influence
Yeah.
where he's just trying to apologize for his own mistakes and not having paid attention to then him having to come save Spidey's ass.
Yeah.
And the thing is, in that moment, when they have gotten off the call, at no point am I thinking Iron Man is going to save the day. I'm just like, how is he going to save the day? Right?
Peter.
Yeah, Peter, right? Like
Hmm.
when the tactical failure happens, I'm like, okay, yikes. And then Iron Man obviously comes in and they have that whole interaction piece, right? Where he's like, Peter's like, I wanted to be like you. And Tony's like, I wanted you to be better,
Yeah,
right?
that's a great dialogue.
And then he just says like, wow, I sound just like my dad,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that is Tony's own conflict going through his complicated relationship with his dad, right?
Of
Because we
course.
know how horrible his relationship was with Howard Stark. So I mean, I won't say horrible. I'd just say complicated, right? It was a difficult relationship, but then Howard Stark
Was
showed him the way how to save his life in Iron Man 2,
yeah.
right? So for me, Tony's a great side assisting factor. He's not really shaping the story that much. He adds more emotional beats because it shows you exposure and it just like gives more emotional depth to Peter's character
Mm-hmm.
because you can see Peter's just trying to fight for his survival, right? His approval, right?
Yeah.
And then you have that big moment in the end which shows Peter being like, no, I think I'm good not being public Spider-Man right now. And now for me, I love how wait, how do you do spoilers in your shows? Am I allowed to talk about the other two Spider-Man movies or do I not talk about them?
Yeah, we're all full of spoilers.
Yeah.
If you're in
Okay.
here, you signed
So
up. Yeah.
great.
You're
Because the second Spider-Man movie is Peter Parker having to now be Iron Man, right? The mantle of Friday and everything has come on to him,
yeah.
right? Where he is finding like, I can't be the next Iron Man, right? So
Yeah.
he's like, Mysterio, you go be Iron Man,
Yeah.
right? And that's the whole movie. And it's about how Peter's life is, you know, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, Berlin, this whole Homecoming piece, Avengers, Endgame and Infinity War, right? You
Yeah.
zap out, you come back, and then, suddenly
Mhm.
you've now lost the one parental father figure you had, right?
Yeah.
And so you then feel
But
so.
he's got Aunt May.
No, I know, but I'm saying it really helps to see that parental father like dynamic
Yeah.
because it adds a lot more value to their relationship that we get to then experience in Avengers.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have this, I don't think their scenes in Avengers might hit the same.
So in my head, it's the other way around. That instead of Peter having, or sorry, Iron Man having a better impact on Peter, I think Peter has a much better impact on Iron Man, because Peter Parker is kind of the only living being that Iron Man generally cares about outside of, Pepper and then his child.
Mm-hmm. And that he already does, right? Like, even when we see Iron Man for the first time in this movie,
Mm-hmm.
he's just somebody who's fully aware about everything Peter's been up to
In Homecoming.
in
Yeah,
Homecoming,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And
And
yeah, exactly. And so you see that, and it definitely builds on to it.
yeah, what I was trying to say was that if you don't build any emotional relationship
Yeah.
between these two in this movie, then the relationship doesn't come off the same
Mm-hmm.
in the next movie, right?
True.
Because it starts off with, Peter on his field trip, and then he comes in to save Iron Man, and then they both end up on the way to space,
Yeah.
right?
In Endgame, yeah.
And even there, you can see Tony is just being protective, and he tries to get Peter off the ship. It's only Peter being Peter that he stays on the ship,
True.
right? And just what losing Peter, how Tony feels about it then,
Mm-hmm.
even Endgame when he comes back. He doesn't talk about anything, right? The first thing he says is, "I lost the kid,"
Yeah.
right? So
Even in Homecoming, it says, right, like, if people die, that's a different story. That's on you. But if something happens to you, I feel like that's on me.
yeah, so like Tony has this great sense of responsibility for Peter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because he sided with him in Civil War. It's
He recruits him. And I
yeah,
had
but
two
he
questions.
yeah.
Do you have anything to say?
No, I was just saying that he recruits him not to pick a side, right? He doesn't even tell him what is what and what all the details are,
Yeah.
right? He's
He's like,
just
you just
like,
have to do this.
right now we
Stop.
just need to stop them because otherwise, then the military's going to
Keep
come
your
arrest these
distance.
people,
Web them up.
right?
Right. But
Like Tony's not going to Civil War aggressively. He's going into it like, guys, let's just lock this up and go,
yeah.
because Civil War is not that I should sign the code versus I shouldn't sign the code, right? Civil War is about we can discuss this, but Captain America is like, no, I need to go right now with Bucky because he's going to unleash the super soldiers,
Yeah, but it's
right?
also equally about the Accords and
No, I know
Avengers
it's but
accountability.
they don't start punching each other because of the Accords. They start punching each other because Tony's like, can you just please come with us so we can figure this out, versus Cap is like, I can't go with you anywhere right now and discuss these accords because I need to go stop those super soldiers.
Yeah,
Right? Because at that time, Tony doesn't believe the super soldier theory, right? He only believes the super soldier theory
but he's
when
in favor for the Accords even then.
he is, but they are not punching each other because of the accords.
Yeah, but that isn't like, in my opinion, I felt like Tony was in the wrong there with, like, having Wanda and Vision both, like, Vision was pretty much keeping Wanda a prisoner,
Okay.
right? And then so quickly for Tony, because just before Civil War, in Age of Ultron, everything happens because of Tony's aspirations to have this peace and quietness. And then to then be like, oh, I'm taking the high ground, and we're like, yeah, we should sign these papers.
But
You can't have it both ways.
he doesn't try to sign the papers to be cool and fancy, right?
No, but he's like,
And
this is the right thing to do.
he's not but he's not trying to be preachy either. All he's trying to say is that we should be held accountable for our actions, right?
Why? But
Because that mother comes and emotionally guilt trips him
yeah,
about the loss of a child.
yeah,
And yeah,
right. And then Ultron was his creation, and when the Accords happened, the biggest questions I had was, I understand that you need to have accountability, but what happens is the moment they sign those accords, then they kind of become like what happened with Shield. They become a tool for this bigger organization to use.
Yeah,
and
I
then they
mean-
lose autonomy on, like, if we
on your own free will, right? But then
if we want to fight and stop a war, we can't, because now we're bound by these accords.
yes, but then it is the same as you know you being a non-involved party going and interfering in somebody else's conflict, right? Then what gives you the right to do
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
right? So there has to be that accountability, right? That just because you have powers, you are now going to make decisions as per what you think is right,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because today what you think is right may be what I think is right, but tomorrow if we disagree, then
Yeah,
right?
that's why it was such a great movie, and because exactly, because both sides were kind of right and kind of wrong.
No, but what I was trying to say was they don't go punching each other because of where they stand on the accords.
Yeah, even when they have the airport fight, they're not trying to. I think T'Challa is the only one who's trying to kill Bucky, but otherwise they're just trying to disarm each other. Like, most people are not really
Okay. Yeah.
hitting, right? But the question I had earlier was, we see Spider-Man be discovered by Tony.
Mm-hmm.
What if Spider-Man was discovered by a different Marvel superhero?
Mm-hmm.
Who would it be, and how do you think that would have played out?
No, I mean, anyone can really go recruit Spider-Man, right? Like any of the Avengers can. Who's it going to be? It could be Nick Fury because Nick Fury is Nick Fury and he
Mhm.
pretty much recruits him for a mission. Spider-Man 2, right? So that could literally be his introduction into the MCU,
To you, yeah.
right? Because Nick Fury could do exactly everything that Tony Stark does in that scene. Um, he could have run into Daredevil on the streets, chasing someone because they both fight in New York.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, it could be Black Widow or Hawkeye because they're both spies, and I mean she goes and recruits Hulk, right, in India, so
Yeah.
she can definitely recruit a high school kid in New York.
Hmm.
So it could really be anyone, right?
Yeah.
And then it could just be Captain America because if the New York connection.
Yeah. 'Cause I was thinking Captain America. Because, yeah, recruiting is one thing, but it's like, okay, yeah, you come and
Yeah.
fight our, or like join our.
Because Captain
thing.
America is too above. I mean, like he gets Ant-Man in his team, right? But he doesn't go recruit Ant-Man.
Yeah,
Right?
it's Falcon, who knows
who's met
because,
Ant-Man because of the first Ant-Man movie,
Mhm.
right? So he's like, he knows Tic Tac. And yeah, but no, like for me, I love the Tony and Peter relationship
Mhm.
because
too.
it really gives him that deep arc to have to get over and take up the mantle. because first movie, right, he's like, I want to be like you, right, and the second movie is him about having to be him, and him trying to run away from having to be Tony,
True.
right? So yeah, and it's again, right, if they don't establish that relationship between them so much, then why does Tony love and trust Iron Man so much that he,
Tony?
yeah, Tony love Peter so much,
Oh, Peter.
Peter so much that he leaves Friday with him,
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm.
right? He could have left it with anyone.
Yeah. What is it called? Farts was the
Barf.
barf curve, and he is that's in Civil War, right? When he's like showcasing barf at the,
Yeah.
and then the lady comes like, "This is my child." Uh, wow. Okay.
So I love how deep rooted Spider-Man is with Easter eggs.
Hmm.
And that's like a really cool thing about this Spider-Man movie and this whole trilogy, where it's so Spider-Man folklore heavy driven,
Yeah.
right? Like there's Aunt May, and there is Bogdan's grocery store, uh, his deli, and there's Feast where Aunt
Yeah.
May works, and these are all very small
Aaron
details,
Davis.
right? Aaron Davis, who turns out to be Miles, and he mentions that he has a nephew in the city who's Miles Morales, who's Spider-Man. Um, and yeah, it's just got all these teeny tiny little things which you can miss, but like if you're a bit of a nerd like me, then you notice, and then it just gives you an extra
Yeah.
ounce of happiness for you, like, oh, I'm so glad, like, yes, I know that, yes, I relate to that.
Yeah.
uh
I think that's a very unappreciated fact that often goes about Marvel,
yeah.
where I've seen a lot of like other directors and filmmakers who like shit on Marvel for like, making all these superhero movies again and again for 10 years. But the fact that they did such a good job of giving that universe that was available in like, block size pictures in a comic book, and giving people not only the a good cinematic experience, but actually giving people and those nerds like us exactly what we wanted.
Yeah, because I mean, Aunt May works in a soup kitchen. She could have been working anywhere, right?
Yeah.
It could have been called anything, but it's called Feast, right? When he stops those ATM robbers, it's his friend's store that gets destroyed, and
Yeah.
so suddenly, that he now cares,
Yeah.
right? It's not just any store that got zipped; it's his deli and his store.
Yeah.
So he knows the owner,
That scene also with the
right?
owner when he's like, "Oh, how's your aunt?" And he's like,
Yeah.
"How's your daughter?"
Right? And it's like because that scene happens with Peter Parker, and now you see Spider-Man's emotional attachment to it, right?
Hmm.
While that guy doesn't know this is still Peter Parker,
Yeah.
right? And then he goes and saves the cat, which,
It's called Spider-Man.
yeah, which is great.
Right. So cool. I'm pretty sure that's like probably like a trivia question somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, what is the deli store's name and his cat's name? How do you feel? I think Aunt May is too hot, and
I mean, that's very subjective and a very personal opinion, but
yeah,
I think I love the Aunt May.
yeah.
I
No,
think she's great.
she adds really well to Peter's storyline.
Mm-hmm.
But you know that scene when they're at the restaurant and she's making all those puns about "I love you,"
Mm-hmm.
uh, and then obviously she gets that free meal. Probably gets it everywhere. Even Tony is like inappropriately hitting on her,
Mm-hmm.
and I just feel like I I. I personally feel like that's a icky position to be in if you're like going out and you're with your aunt and dudes are just coming and hitting on her.
I mean, I like that it helps add to the awkwardness of Peter's life.
Mm.
And I mean, see, the thing is, we had two old Peter Parkers,
Yeah.
so they had to have Aunt Mays who looked that much older, right? Now, if
I think the first Aunt May was kind of hot.
you have an Aunt May problem, uh, but I think she's great, right? Because like he's a teenager, he's what, 15, 16,
Yeah.
and his aunt is, like 20,
Yeah.
25 years older than him. So if which puts her in a great, parental figure bracket. And could have even been mom's younger sister.
Yeah.
So, it's also about the responsibility on her head as having to deal and live and tackle a teenager
Yeah.
when that was obviously not scheduled in her life either, right?
Yeah.
So it's great for the dynamic.
Yeah. And she's written really well also because, the things she says, like, oh, I used to sneak out too. And then towards the end, when it's revealed that, oh, she finds out that he's Spider Man, she yells, what the fuck?
What the shit?
Yeah. That's pretty crazy. What do you think the budget for this movie was?
145 million.
145. 175.
Close.
Yeah. Right? And I think this is really well done. Like, if you're spending $175 million, which is a lot,
Yeah.
uh, you are then making such a grand movie that is, I think, yeah, just I don't see, based on like how it looked and cinematically, there was any fault that I could
Yeah.
pick out, that are like, oh, this scene didn't like really make sense, or like, oh, this is bad, or it looks weird when Falcon is flying.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great combination of practical and VFX.
Mm-hmm.
And I think movies which do maintain a healthy balance between the two always look great,
Mm-hmm.
right? If everything is practical effects, then you may not get all the desired results you want. And if everything is VFX, then it just doesn't look that great. So, yeah, I think it does it really well. And I think on a budget scale for all that's happening in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, because I think it even like made around 800 plus million
Yeah,
worldwide.
I'm not surprised. Like I was definitely like 6 to 700 guaranteed,
Yeah.
right? Just because hype Spider-Man and also it's a really good movie,
Right.
right?
And
Because there's so much that happens, right? He comes back, he's in school. You see Ned find out. I love Ned, by the way. I think Ned
yeah.
is great. Like Ned, I mean, I love James Franco as Harry Osborn.
Yep.
But I think Ned plays the
Perfect.
best
The guy in
Peter's
the
best friend,
chair.
right? The guy in the chair is so
So
good.
good. And he
And
improvised a lot of like they improvised a lot of the dialogues they did throughout the movie,
yeah.
so that chemistry really shows.
Yeah, like you can just
Okay.
see that, they're really tight friends and they both really care
The
for each
secret
other.
hand, the no look
Right? Yeah,
handshake.
they've got the handshake. So yeah, Ned's great. Uh wait, what are we talking about again?
You're talking about that
Yeah,
you wouldn't surprise how
how
much
well it
money
did,
it
right?
did. Yeah.
So yeah, he then finds these guys who are selling the school tech. Then he goes chasing them in Washington. The
Mhm.
whole Washington scene happens. Then the whole ferry scene happens. Then there's also Iron Man, which is, kind of expensive to your budget.
Yeah.
And
That's like 40 million right
yeah,
there.
and then there is the final scene,
Yeah.
right? The final fight with airplane. And just in terms of loot, the Vulture, sorry, got away with a crate full of arc reactors, by the way. Okay?
Yeah.
Which was insane. Like that guy would have been rich. Dollar bills, yo.
Right? Like, yeah. I still remember. I think it's one of my favorite comic book scenes. Like, Tony Stark, build this in a cave.
I know. That's so great.
And he's like, I'm not Tony Stark. You're like, oh, you're not. Well, before this movie came out, I think 2017. I think this is my last movie that I had seen while I was in India, right? Summer, and then August. I was like, August end we came here to Canada to drop me for school. Uh, I often think about it that there have been there had been so many superhero movies from like 2008 when Iron Man came to 2017, but still like just the craze and weight that I had, my friends had, we in our house had, of just like, oh, we're getting a new Spider-Man, and then we're getting a new Spider-Man that's gonna be in the MCU. So
Yeah.
he's not only here just for like a movie, but he's here to like stay for long. And to then go and watch it in the theaters and then have like such a great experience.
Yeah.
I think 10 on 10. Really enjoyed it. Because I do often think about that. Because I love superhero movies. I think they're one of my favorite genres just because they really operate under this fundamental of suspended reality. Like anything is possible. And I often think like, oh, are these kind of movies like getting more saturated? Because then we see like shitty movies like Black Adam, and so pretty sure that even when they're making these movies, it's a bet that all these like studios have to do and be like, okay, we're gonna give them another Spider-Man and see if it like is gonna land, not land. Or do you think it was like, this is gonna be successful
I think
at all?
Spider-Man was gonna cook either way. If they made a bad movie, it would have definitely not made as much money as they did, but it would have still made money because everyone's gonna go watch it,
Yeah.
right? Kids are gonna go watch it, and adults are gonna go watch it. And if you can bring two different age demographics, then I think your movie's gonna make at least $200 million.
True.
Internationally.
Yeah, because internationally, one thing that we've seen in our podcast is that a lot of these movies make a lot more money internationally than they make in US and Canada.
Yes, of course, because there's so many more countries, right?
Yeah,
Consider population and size and scale.
true. But it's like the idea that some guy in US came up with the idea of Spider-Man and they were able to spread the message, and it was such a great idea that it was accepted and loved by so many people all around the world.
Yeah.
Right, which is nowadays something that's hard to find, right? Like something that everybody loves, right? I think one major contribution that really helped this movie, which blew my mind when I found out, was the director. What's his name? Something Watts, John Watts.
Yeah.
He. This was not his debut. I think he done like
This is his first studio movie.
studio movie.
Like Batman Begins is Christopher Nolan's first studio movie.
Really?
Yep.
Is Batman Begins before like he did any Inception and
Yeah, I think so.
yeah? Damn, that's crazy. Wow.
Or it may just be after. No, but I think Batman is his first big studio movie.
Big studio movie.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
And like
crazy.
he only agreed to like do Batman because he said, I'm not gonna make a comic book superhero movie. I'm gonna make a movie and I'm gonna use this comic book superhero world to base the premise of my movie in. Like he's like, I'm gonna tell a cinematic story. I'm gonna make this film as if this is a cinematic story.
Yeah.
So it's gonna land all the marks of cinema, not all the marks of a summer blockbuster.
Or a comic book
Or a comic
thing
book
that
movie.
people look at.
Right? So I'm going to stick true to what I want,
Yeah.
then we will cook.
Wow, that's very interesting that you mentioned that because uh, between Christian Bale and what's his name, Ben Affleck.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Affleck is more comic book accurate than Christian Bale,
Mm-hmm.
but I did prefer the Christopher Nolan
Batman.
Batman so much
Yeah.
more. I was looking at the writers for this,
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly. They've done Horrible Bosses,
Yeah.
right? Which is like the moment I saw that they've done Horrible Boss, it all clicked. Like, okay, now I see. Because Marvel does such a finesse job of putting in humor where it never feels like this is forced,
Yeah.
right? Like when he's running and they've just spoken about, like, I don't know how far my web goes. And he's like, oh, you should just like stand on the bridge and shoot and see how. And then he running into that field
Yeah.
and then he shoots. What do you think? Do you think the director nailed it?
Yeah, no, I think it's great. Like, I usually rate like a director's work in a movie I've watched based on two things really,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is how many cool things were there, which I was like, whoa, how did he do that? That's so cool. Or wow, that's a
Mm-hmm.
really, well thought of thing that's happened. And the other is, oh, what was that?
Mm-hmm.
And this movie brought me zero what was that moments,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Agreed.
Like, there's a very heartfelt emotional payoff. There is a lot of vulnerability to Peter Parker's character. There is also a lot of focus on, his emotional relationships with his aunt, with Ned, with Tony, right? And there is just his whole struggle of, wanting to do more and be better,
Yeah.
re- realizing that he is Spider-Man. I think there's a lot of deliverance in the film.
Yeah.
Like, you feel satisfied when you finish watching it, and I think that's one of the best compliments you can pay a director. Is like, you took me on a journey from start to finish, and it was great.
Right. Yeah. Because I often wonder, my like question, and one of the reasons I started this podcast was trying to identify what makes a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the more movies I've seen and discussed here is coming to the realization it's just not one component, it's a lot of other components.
Yeah.
But when you see this guy, you see Christopher Nolan. Obviously, he has a reputation, and he did Batman. Like that wow factor that you see in a movie that comes from a great director.
Mm-hmm.
What constitutes kind of behind the scenes of what makes a
Mm-hmm.
good director?
So I think behind the scenes, I think a good director is one who has clarity of vision and one who's a great leader.
Hmm.
Because I think if you have those two, you can do everything else. Because when you have clarity
Mm-hmm.
of vision, you can really help the actors get to where they need to be
Mm-hmm.
to deliver the best performance. If you have clarity, you can help guide and shape all other departments who are working in harmony to help deliver your vision.
True.
So I think that's number one. And then number two is just always being a great leader. Like, you need to have basic leaderships of, inspiring and just having the faith and the trust of the troops who are there, fighting the fight, making this movie for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you can do these two things really well, I think a majority of the battle's already won. Because a great director can make a bad movie, and I don't want to say a bad director, but someone cannot do all the right things in the right way
Mm-hmm.
and still end up with a great movie.
Mm.
Because there are so many factors which come into play into making a movie,
Yeah.
right? It's the actor's performance, it's the music, it's the cinematography, it's the world build, it's the direction, it's just so many different things, right? And as much as there is a formula to successful films, there is no formula for great movies.
Yeah.
Because there can be, because I think being just a great movie is subjective, right?
100%.
Like if you can feel whatever you wanted to feel from watching a movie, I think the movie's done its job, right?
Yeah.
So whilst I could have a very bad experience watching a horror film because I don't enjoy watching horror films, doesn't make it a bad movie,
True.
right? So if you don't have a great experience watching a film, maybe it's a good movie, maybe it's a bad movie, you don't know,
Yeah.
right? And there's obviously so many things which make a movie good, right? Like good
Mm-hmm.
acting, good script writing, good,
Yeah.
just everything.
I've
It,
appreciated sound a lot more recently.
yeah, I mean, sound is half your movie. Like, you can
Mm.
watch a poor quality video with great audio,
Yeah.
but a great quality video with poor audio is very difficult to watch.
100%. I was watching this clip of like the Titanic sinking, and somebody just had like the banjo or something playing, and it was like a totally whole different
Yeah, I
experience.
mean, the if you put like cartoon Tom and Jerry goofy comedy music
Mm-hmm.
onto like the Titanic drowning scene,
Yeah.
you can make it comedy. Like suddenly it's Parks and Rec and not, fancy ship sinking and people dying. It's like
Yeah.
The Office.
One thing I heard was like the director took inspiration from works of the guy who made uh, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where you have like Spider-Man also running through like all the bushes chasing
Yeah.
behind the van, and it also shows up in the TV at the pool
Yeah.
party. So I was like, that's really cool because obviously people who get into film, you're in film,
Yeah.
uh, they're kind of inspired, and that's usually my first question I ask, like, hey, what got you into film?
Yeah.
Very rarely do I hear like, oh man, I didn't have anything job to do, so I just did this. It's like, oh, I kind of felt like I was inspired by like sound somewhere or acting somewhere.
Yeah, I mean it's an unorthodox field of arts, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's especially with just how diverse like most of the roles are
Mm-hmm.
on a film set. You're never really thinking of being a dolly grip when you're growing up.
Yeah.
But then suddenly you realize, wow, I really enjoy doing
Yeah.
that.
I can be in a movie
Right?
without being
Yeah.
on camera.
Like growing up, I didn't even know what an assistant director was,
Yeah.
right? But something somewhere leads to something which then, it just brings people who really believe in telling stories together,
Yeah.
right? Like filmmaking is just expression, it's an art form.
Yeah. And the more
Right.
you do it, the better you start getting a hang of it,
Yeah, I mean that's
understanding
just
it.
like practice makes perfect, right? But practice makes perfect when you learn from your mistakes.
True.
Otherwise you're just
Needs to be a
then you're in a
lesson.
loop.
Yeah. uh, have you run into like directors who have been like what's the worst director you've met on set?
Oh, I think someone who is just not kind. I think there's directors are often very unique personalities.
Mm-hmm.
They have very set certain visions, and some of them can be going through so many things. So I think the ones who are not kind to their crew are my least favorite kind of directors.
Hmm.
Yeah, just that.
Wow. Yeah, that's just an asshole who's
Yeah,
just.
because you can have a good shot or a bad shot, and there's obviously so many technical aspects of directing.
Mm-hmm.
So, like if someone doesn't know blocking properly or doesn't direct their actors well or doesn't, clarify. Acting is a very difficult profession, and actors really need to feel like understood and safe and comfortable in order to be able to really deliver.
Hmm.
Some of them you can tell them exactly what you need and they'll deliver exactly that. Some of
Yeah.
them want to be super deep dive into the character and they have 50 different questions,
Yeah.
and every director has a different relationship with their actors. But again, it's about leadership, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
about guiding and how are you nurturing this actor who's now laid themselves before you to be like, okay, please direct me so I can help land the story and the message
Yeah.
that you right now desire to portray,
Yeah.
right? So it's just, yeah, I think those who are not nice and kind to their crew.
Talking about being nice and kind, let's guess if the critics and fans were nice and kind.
Oh,
Do you want to guess the Rotten Tomato scores?
yes. um Rotten Tomatoes is the,
Popcorn and
yeah,
tomato.
no, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just, so I think critics
Yeah.
would have gone 82%,
82.
and I think the fans would have gone maybe 89, 90%.
89, 90%. So you're really close on the fans part. Fans went 87.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, critics blew my mind, 92. Right?
Hey,
So critics actually liked it more than fans did.
hey, they blew my mind too. Oh, no way, critics love all this fandom or a comic book movie. That's crazy.
I would love to be in a writer's room. I think it's one of the coolest places to be in when it comes to like just idea being, bashed around. Uh,
Yeah, no,
Everybody's
they're
trying to like
fascinating.
punch
It's
up the jokes, like Ned says this, okay, everybody laughs. Oh, maybe no, he says like this thing, right? Like that scene where Ned finds out that he's Spider-Man, like Peter's Spider-Man, and he's like, how are you doing this? How are you Spider-Man and doing the Stark internship?
yeah.
Right? And yeah, that's a very good point that writers really carried that role then. And something I've been noticing a lot also is obviously you have directors who write their own
Mm-hmm.
stories, but most of the time I've seen like it's duos, like two writers together who work on like who are just like a team and then they just work on like multiple projects.
That's just about finding what works for you, right? Like
Mm.
there's an equal number of great solo writers as there is, writer duos.
Yeah.
But then similarly, there's DP duos and director duos,
Mm.
right? Like the Russo brothers work together, right?
Yeah. Right.
So, and sometimes they'll just do everything together. Sometimes I've seen them split roles. Like there may be one director who's only working with the actors and the other is working with the camera, for example,
Yeah.
right? Um, there'll be times when one of the DPs is very camera focused and the other DOP is very lighting focused,
Mm.
right? So, yeah, I mean, it's about finding the right balance to still do the same job, right?
Yeah. But it's crazy. Like I obviously love you, but I don't see us ever like making a film together.
It's about trust, right? Like,
Mm.
you need to have, because film is such a collaborative environment,
Mm.
you have to be vulnerable and expose yourself to convey the thoughts and ideas that you have,
Hmm.
and then you have to be vulnerable enough to expose yourself to them, but also be accepting enough that when your partner is shooting them down, then there must be a reason that even if you don't agree with it right now,
Hmm.
they don't need to make sense to you. You have enough faith and trust in them that you can just live with their decision,
True.
right? So I think having that sense of trust and respect is very important,
Right.
because
Yeah.
it's okay to differ and argue as long as the trust remains. I think you're fine.
Right. Because I think, like, especially like film, like, it's so, like, you need to, you can't be like, oh, I can't tell you this is a shitty scene that you're shooting, or this angle looks terrible, if I'm like afraid that, oh, you're gonna like feel bad, and then you're gonna be like, okay, I don't want to do this film anymore. And that, I guess, like goes through like not only with brothers but also like just people on set. Like if you have like a cameraman whose job is to like zoom in, zoom out from the lens during a shot, and he doesn't do it right, you then go and tell him, hey bro, you didn't do this right.
Mm-hmm.
And because a lot of places nowadays, like even especially in regular office jobs, you can't say anything to anybody, right? Everybody just goes, does the same thing, unless they're the boss and they're entitled to. But like work culture here in North America is so different, where everybody just has the same boring hey, what did you do over the weekend conversation, like with 15 different people in the office.
But I mean, I think that's got its own issues to do with things. I think in terms of just filming a collaborative environment,
Hmm.
it's very important for you to just be nice and kind. Like, at the end of the day, it's just a movie. It's not a matter of life and death,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the stakes are never that high, though sometimes stakes are very high, but it's never big enough for you to, be mean or rude to someone else.
True.
And yeah, you just have to be respectful and very trusting. And then you find a balance, a system that works. For example, like, directors like working with the same cinematographers because they're like, we now have this relationship where I'm like, I want to do it this way. And when you tell me that, no, that's not going to work, this is how we should do it,
Yeah.
we have enough experience together and enough of a relationship between us that when you tell me what I'm saying doesn't work, I can just be like, yeah, okay, it doesn't work.
Hmm.
Without me being like, why is this person telling me that my idea doesn't work?
Yeah. Yeah. Also, being able to like take that criticism, right? I think that's a hard thing, and sometimes, like, I know sometimes I in life get agitated when somebody's trying to tell me like, oh, you should do this. But again, going back to like, oh yeah, it's a collaborative space where everybody is trying to just make a good thing,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So be kind, be nice.
Good policy in life to have.
Right. There's this news about this guy who was going around telling people he's gonna kill them with kindness, and people
Hey.
was like, okay.
And
And
then he labeled his sword
yeah,
kindness.
yeah,
Hey,
machete,
yes, smart
kind.
guys. Like, that has to be a sword wielding guy. It's
Literally.
not going to be a gun wielding American.
Um, did you have any like favorite scenes from the movie or favorite dialogues?
I think I just love the Tony Peter dialogues.
Mm-hmm.
I think every scene they are in together, there's just so much quality and comedy at the same time.
Yep.
Even the first scene when he goes to open the door and Peter hugs him because he's such an awkward goof. And he's like, I was just opening the
Yeah.
door for you. Right? And then when, he's in, Tony's in India, right? And he's scolding Peter for, being irresponsible. And he's like, I'm not even here, right? And he's like, I just saved your life, and you may as well thank Ganesh for it, who's just a guy who's handing him a drink, right?
Yeah.
So it's just funny and comedy.
Yeah.
And then when Tony saves him with the ferry, it's such a deep dialogue, right? With the my father never trusted me, and sorry I was, jumping the gun with you. And
Yeah.
then after the save on the ferry, he's like, I would just want to be like you, and he's like, I want you to be better,
Yeah.
right? And
That was on my list too.
I'm gonna
That's it.
need the suit back, and you know, if you're nothing without the suit, then you shouldn't have it.
Mm.
And Peter's journey from that moment to being like, I still have to do what needs to be done to stop this from happening, suit or not.
Yeah.
Him, and I love how he has no spider sense because when he runs out of the school,
Oh,
bang, shocker hits him, and he has no idea of it, right?
I okay.
But for me, it's like he really doesn't have spider sense at this point. Like at no point
Yeah.
have they really shown him having spider sense,
Yeah.
which obviously becomes like a thing in Spider-Man 2, and then
Three.
no,
Oh, two.
in
Yeah,
2,
two. In two, he
right?
develops
2
it.
was very,
Yeah.
and I really like that if really story wise that's his moment of spider sense, like really picking up,
Yeah.
then because I don't think he really has spider sense till that point, right?
Yeah. No, he doesn't.
When he gets beaten up and thrashed around, I think it's
And that was gonna be my first response of like when you asked me like at the beginning of this, if having Tony Stark there has been a good thing or bad thing for Peter, but it has, giving him like better cool things to work with instead of having, especially with when he gets his iron suit,
yeah,
right? Then he has those legs. Then he doesn't need to like really fight anything. Those legs just do their own thing.
yeah.
Um,
And it's so cool, right? Because obviously in Avengers we see insta kill and everything, right? And
yeah.
he's like so comfortable and good with it.
Mm.
But here he's like, no, deactivate, instant kill, and he's like, active war mode, and you can see he's being such an irresponsible kid. Like, he hacks through the training manual,
Yeah.
overrides it. When he hasn't done through everything, he's like, whoa, I have 500 web
Yeah.
combinations, and he can't even get his web out, which is like such a basic thing for
Yeah,
him,
Karen.
just off his shooters.
What was that?
So, yeah, just great dialogues there, right? And then the scene where he's there in the debris, you can see his mask in the water and half his face, and it's really beaten up, and then he gets out of it.
Mm.
I think that's just a great, beautiful moment.
Yeah, and then he really
Yeah.
pushes up. It kind of Christian Bale lifting that log.
Yeah, I mean, it's just great. Like, I think there's a lot of good pieces of dialogue there. Like his interactions with Flash, for example, right? He takes Flash's car, and
Yeah.
then the guy in the chair, and Ned gets caught, and he's just like, by the teacher, and he's like, I was watching porn,
Yeah.
which is like such a goofy, dumb thing to say. But like you said, right? Marvel has a great way of just, sewing in very organic comedy and humor without being, forceful or crass about it. Like, they don't do cheap jokes or vulgar jokes. They
Yeah.
do very organic, jokes you and I would have just casually cracked if we were going through something.
True.
And yeah, I really like that about Marvel movies.
My favorite scene was him in the car uh,
With the Vulture.
with the Vulture. Tommy.
Yeah.
Tommy. Yeah. That scene I think was so intense.
Intense, right? You can feel the
Yeah, like
stress,
you're developing
tension,
spider
anxiety,
tingle.
right? Yeah.
And it's
See,
like
that's the mark of a good director. Like when you can portray that sense of anxiety and like just how tense Peter must be, and like he's also figuring out when they're in the car, and then the daughter's like, "Dad, the light," right? And you can
And
just
he's
feel,
still, like,
and then
looking.
yeah, and he's still figuring, and then when they stop, he's like, "I'm gonna now have the dad talk."
And
Right.
also acting, right? Like both of them kind of portray like, okay, we're both facing each other, we're both deciding that these are the choices we're gonna make, and we're both without our suit of or armor,
Yeah, because neither of them is like, he's not evil, right?
Yeah.
And he's not some control freak. Just like, this is where life has brought us.
Does money buy you a good director, or is a good director just a good director?
No, good director, just a good director.
Mhm.
Because again, the director gets the script that has that dialogue happening inside a car.
Hmm.
What are you showing? How are you showing it? What is your camera size?
Mm-hmm.
How fast are you cutting in between your shots? All of those things affect your viewer's experience,
True.
right? Like, am I super close up on Peter's face,
Yeah.
right? Like, am I really feeling him, or is it super wide? Is he feeling very isolated right now? Right? Are they slow cuts? Like, it's really a slow burner into the scene, really just
Hmm.
dragging in, sucking you in, right? Or is it fast cut, like, really trying to amp up the tension? Then what's the music like? What's the breathing like? Like,
Hmm.
how awkward is, his girlfriend feeling,
Yeah.
right? So, all of those things, how many times do you go outside the car to see a white shot? Because there's a bunch of times, you see them pull up to the red
Yeah.
light, see cars go by. So, all of those things, the director influences,
Oh.
right? And there's so many permutation combinations of doing the same thing. That's and then it's a director's responsibility to be like, I'm pick that one.
With that one. Now I can see why if the director does not know what he wants, it can be like pretty chaotic for
Yeah,
everybody. And
because
like, okay, let's shoot all four angles.
yeah, and see now when then it's like a director who doesn't know what they want. They will ask for three different options
Hmm.
of the same line, right? Give this to me with focus here, intensity there, really pitch up on this part of the dialogue, right? And now the actor has to now do that across four different setups,
True.
right? So you have to nail the right performance across three iterations now.
That's
And
why.
there could be that neither of them work,
Hmm.
right?
Have you ever had like, and this is a question for you guys too, because I've never had it, but the awkward dad talk from a girl's dad.
From a girl's mom.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Parent counts, I
And
guess.
I think I just got it from my no, I don't think I ever got a talk from my folks.
Yeah.
Weird.
Like bring yourself back by 10.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I
Mm.
think from a couple of moms, definitely.
Mm.
But no.
Wow. That's very interesting. Because I saw that scene and I was like, that would be such a sucky person. Because I can imagine like Midwest somewhere or like South in US, dad is just sitting on the porch cleaning his shotgun while the son,
Yeah, I
guys come
mean,
to pick
that's
up.
what happens in. What's the movie? Bad Guys, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like he comes to take his daughter out on a date.
uh, bad guys.
Bad
Bad
boys,
boys.
not
Yeah.
bad guys.
Yeah.
So,
Another's
sorry,
bad
Billie
guy.
Eilish.
Yeah. Um, okay. So we're close to wrapping up. One of my favorite things we've been trying to do. No way you did that. Is trying to judge the movie with a little bit of questioning the logic
Mm-hmm.
and of the sequences. Uh, I think I have like six.
Okay. So, as a thumb rule,
Yeah.
and maybe this is just driven by as someone who grew up watching a lot of Bollywood movies, but I don't question logic in movies
Yeah.
because I just believe that if it felt convincing and looked convincing, it's okay because there's aliens and aliens aren't real. So maybe the laws of physics in the movie weren't real.
True.
Maybe chemical reactions don't happen in this universe the way they happen in my universe, because my universe doesn't have superheroes.
Okay.
My universe just has supervillains.
Hmm.
Okay, there's presidents and CEOs and all of those people, but we don't do superheroes here,
Ah.
right? We do martyrs and supervillains.
Supervillains. That's a crazy world to live in. Okay, so I'm guessing you had zero.
No,
issues.
I'm happy to discuss it,
Okay.
and I
Okay, so the first one was his clothes don't tear ever, until the final battle with the vulture, and they're often like clean and not clean in the same sequence, right?
continuity.
Yeah, I guess exactly.
Okay.
Right,
I mean, I didn't care for that much. I'm
right.
like,
Secondly, when he catches the vulture the first time in the truck, and vulture's got that seal that allows him to pass through it. Vulture removes the seal and he jumps, and he immediately gets knocked out by hitting his head on a truck, right? After that, when literally a few scenes later, when they're on the ferry and the cars come and the water comes, no, when the falcon comes flying out, Peter goes and hits his head on the metal pole of the ferry. He doesn't get knocked out then. And then when this guy comes, Shocker, that you mentioned right after he's going to chase the dad, he gets rocked by the Shocker in the head, and he doesn't get knocked out then. So I felt like,
oh, so I think, and sure, there may be more technicalities there, but when he's trying to jump out of the truck, that is him using Spider-Man strength to really push himself off from somewhere instead of an external force being applied towards him. And I think Spider-Man's strength is often very misunderstood and underrated, but we need to realize that when the Winter Soldier punches Captain America,
yeah,
Captain America gets rocked.
yeah,
Okay, Captain America can't like just catch the Winter Soldier's
yeah,
punch. When the Winter Soldier punches Spider-Man, Spider-Man can catch it as if I was punching John Cena.
yeah,
And John Cena is like, I must swat this fly away right now.
yeah,
Right? So that's how much of a strength differential there really is.
true.
So when Spider-Man gets thrown onto the pole, it's not as much as now he's hit his head on a pole and he's out. Because the first time also he runs into the Shocker after the party, right? Shocker cleans him straight onto his face, and he goes and smashes into cinder blocks. But in the truck scene, the distance isn't enough because it's obviously such a low ceiling, right? From where he's standing to where the roof of this truck is, that he's going to rip a hole through it. But he tries to jump out of it with Spider-Man strength, and that's what knocks him out. Because all of the other instances,
Yeah,
he is being thrown somewhere. Okay, he is not using his strength for any of it. And that again comes down to like he also does not understand how strong he is
yeah,
until because why is it that initially he's just struggling and panicking and he can't escape, and then suddenly he realizes, he looks in the water, he's like, I'm Spider-Man,
and then he can.
then he can escape.
Yeah,
It's not a eureka moment, right, that he solved the formula or figured out the physics angles to push it.
yeah,
It was just knowing that he has the strength to push it.
true. And he has the strength within him to push
Yeah.
it. I think that really justifies it. I think that's a good, because the only counterpoint I was thinking to that would have been like, oh, like if he's so, yeah, if he's like, because he's strong enough, and you see that because he's watching that YouTube video in class, when he watches himself like catch a full speed car, right? So he is super strong. So okay, I agree with that. That's a really good logic point of like, yeah, he just didn't know, and that was his strength instead of like being knocked out by something, and that's why he doesn't get knocked out because he's like actually pretty strong.
Yeah.
And I agree, like a lot of iterations of Spider-Man like talk about it, but I think this one is the first one that is actually shown.
Yeah.
Like
Because like Andrews and Toby's Spider-Man weren't like,
they were slick, but not powerful.
yeah, like they didn't even have like crazy strength,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like at no point does Peter Parker ever go like smashing things and stuff,
Yeah.
right? Or engage in that much of heavy combat,
Mm-hmm.
because with the lizard it's more of like catch and chase than it is combat. And Electro's again just webs and webs, no combat. And with Venom in Spider-Man 3 was web,
Mm.
and the Goblin was also web. Otto Octavius, there was actual fighting,
Yeah.
right? There's some
Yeah.
good fighting.
Even there's about that I've read a theory where like that scene where he's swinging in and then it pans to. By the way, the best I think
Yeah,
transitions
best
ever,
transition ever.
ever I've seen.
I will show you another one which will top that.
Top that. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
excited. I like it.
because the thing with that one is you know exactly what's happened and how they filmed it. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
the one I'm gonna show you, you'll be like, what was the physics of this shot?
Shot. Yeah.
Like, what is real? Like, it will be your Inception and Shutter Island
Yeah.
moment all in one.
Because a lot of people have been doing it recently on like social media where they've been like, "Oh, this is a zipper," and then it's just a boat going into the water, and I'm like, "What? That's so cool!" So I love that movie magic there. But in that fight with Doctor Octavius, he's like hitting Doctor Octavius, and the theory is that he's so strong that he knocks out Doctor Octavius with each hit, and then because he's neurologically connected because of his tentacles, they wake him up and then he knocks him out again,
Eh,
and then he falls. um, which reminding of that movie and that scene, because that's very close to when the train scenes happen. uh, in my heart, when I saw the ferry scene of holding the webs compared to the train scene of Toby Maguire holding the webs, it was like, this is such an ode
yeah.
to that movie.
See, I think a very big thing on the train scene was also in that movie, he's really struggling with his powers,
Yeah.
and he's just got his powers back because he realizes he needs to be Spider-Man to save Mary Jane. And there's like, you can just see him give it his all, you know?
Oh yeah.
And like you said, there is no Iron Man in that universe that's gonna come save him. There is no
Mm.
other superheroes.
Also from that scene, I never thought about this until like I think 3 years ago, and uh, I don't know if you know who Joey Diaz is.
The UFC boxer? UFC
No,
fighter?
that's Nate Diaz.
Okay.
Joey Diaz is like a stand-up comedian who I got to know like years and years later. Um, but he's the one who's says to Dr. Octavius, "Hey, if you want to reach Peter Spider-Man, you got to go through all of us." And then Dr. Octavius just wipes
Yeah.
everybody out. And so it's really cool to like watching movies and then realizing that, oh, there's so many like athletes, actors, comedians
Who've
that
done all these guest appearances?
guest
Yeah.
appearances or have been in these movies. Like even his gym teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, his gym teacher is also like a comedian.
I mean, see, it's small things like this that I love about films, right? Like, for example, you said that, you know, when he does the chase scene, those kids, they're watching Ferris Bueller on TV. As a filmmaker, it's those little odes you can give to your childhood and all those things that have importance to you, which are like, yes, right? Like, it's special and you know why it's special, and it's only special to you and
True.
whoever else is special to. So, yeah, it's just one of those fun little things, right? Like,
This is for me.
like Donald Trump in Home Alone.
How can you imagine? Who knew?
right?
Who knew?
Elon Musk and Iron Man 2,
Who knew?
right? He's like, Tony, right?
Right? Like, who knew when we saw those
Yeah.
people then that. And
Im-
Donald Trump hasn't aged at all.
Imagine 20 years ago, they did a Comedy Central roast of Donald Trump
Mm-hmm.
where Donald Trump was so far away from ever being president at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone roasted him on the fact that, he was someone who thought he could one day be president. And he's president twice.
Twice. He was like, yeah.
America, have you become great? Are you feeling great yet?
Okay, talking about things I didn't find so great. Shocker. Um, Shocker is introduced as this guy with a beard,
Mm-hmm.
right? He lives a very small lifespan as any MCU villain,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he's shown when he like comes back from the first night, wearing like when they blast those weapons,
Yeah.
right? And when you first see him and he uses the shocking machine, and then he comes and tells Tommy that, hey, I'm gonna go out and tell everybody what you're up to, right? Because I'm not gonna just stop doing it.
Yeah.
And Tommy like disintegrates him and his clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And just before that, he's wearing the iconic, the animated series Shocker, the yellow sleeves, like a yellow puffer jacket underneath, and it's got this crisscross.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the end, the final time, they show what's this guy?
The other guy wearing the shocker.
Yeah, the
Shocker 2.0.
right, and he's got the same like the same dirtied up jacket underneath on his sleeve, and I was like, either that jacket got destroyed, or in like the span of like from then to now, you've bought a same jacket and used it and got it like dirtied up again.
So, I mean, I hope you noticed it was now a different guy playing the shocker and not the same guy.
Exactly my point. Yeah, that why he has the
Because-
same clothes as the different
Because they work part of a working crew, so they all have the same clothes. They all literally just wear the same jackets. Like they work the same crew, so they have the same uniform. And that's why they have the same jacket.
But the other
Like it's a very regular workman's jacket.
but none of them are wearing it, and it's pretty iconic to have like that X's.
But it's like he's not. They haven't really tried to make him the big comic book villain that Shocker is.
True.
It's just an ode that as part of the different technology pieces, they had this.
Yeah.
And
That you're the Shocker
yes,
now.
like he's not the actual Shocker. Like it's just that simple. It's not that deep.
That's fair. Well, I found it super deep, and I was like, wait a minute, why do you just kill this guy? You just brought him here too. Next was at the monument scene.
Mm-hmm.
Before I say what I didn't like about that scene, I'll say because he spent the night before, at the time before, at Stark's warehouse,
Mm-hmm.
and he's gone through all of his webs and all. They showed that specific scene. They're able to show him when he jumps in. The first thing he hits is a ricochet web instead of a direct web, because he comes in and hits, and then the web goes on the metal top, and then it bounces down to catch the lift. So that's fantastic. I think that's really smartly done. What I didn't
That's not the first web he uses though after climbing the building.
not climbing, when he jumps through the window,
Okay, yeah.
right? When he like slides in by going to the top, flying, going on the helicopter, breaks through in, hits the ricochet web. It shows the web go, but then the elevator that is already gone down,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes down a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Why does he bring it all the way up instead of any of the floors in between?
Because The elevator doesn't. There are no other floors in between. That's how the Lincoln Memorial is. You are either on the bottom floor or the top floor. There
But
is.
if something is dropping, right, and I have a web here, wouldn't it be easier to release more web and let it slowly go down compared to have tension here and tension here and then having to
I
pull it all
mean,
the way up?
once again, we've already talked about how strong he is and how much strength he has. So, how much of a burden is it for him? And maybe it was easier to go up the 7 floors it had slipped down than to go down the 60 floors it had to go down.
Yeah, because
Right?
I just look at Spider-Man 1 had that scene where he's carrying that chairlift that Green Goblin shoots
Yeah.
down, right? And then his idea is like, okay, I'm gonna
Because
let it
what
down.
he has to let it down is very small. Right? Like that ferry's just going right below it, so he sets it down in that. Right? But what I'm saying is
Hmm.
you're being nitpicky over a very small detail.
Yeah, that's
Which
the whole point of the segment
no
is
no
to
no
like question these things. Like
and
whatever
and
is
and there is an answer, right? That maybe it was easier for him to.
that's a theory then. Cause,
Yes, so you question, and now here's your theory,
hmm.
right? Like why he did that, there is your reason.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I still think like that was in the best, smartest way. Um, but to end it, the biggest thing was the uh, time gap in the movie
Mm-hmm.
where he's mentioned that Tommy has been doing it for 8 years without having to like deal with any of the issues.
Yep.
And Avengers was 2012, so that would have placed him in 2020. But Spider-Man, which is a few months after Civil War, which is based in 2016, is 2016-17 is definitely not close enough. So that was like a wrong dialogue, a wrong line.
Sure.
And I think,
I mean, do we know for a fact that Avengers is 2012?
yeah, there's a whole MCU encyclopedia. And the way they covered it is when they created Loki, because a lot of people are on Comic Con, and that's why I like to nitpick on these things because these are nerdy things. Is a lot of fans raise that question, and then
The 8 years later that comes.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then they solved it by talking about it in Loki, where they have the TVA robot, and she talks about how, and basically what the current theory that people have accepted is that the TVA had taken Tommy from one variant to another because he was in the wrong timeline. And that's why he says, I've been doing this for 8 years. But nobody really believed that.
I mean, when he says he's been doing this for 8 years, maybe he has just been harvesting crash sites for 8 years.
But exactly, then you would be in 2020 because Crash Site started in 2012.
No, I mean, crash sites started before.
But you
Like,
clearly see in the beginning of the movie that he's
yeah,
clearing
sure,
up
okay, yes,
Shitori.
they made a mistake there.
Mm.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think those are just the points. It's not something that I look at. These are reasons why I don't like or dislike. These
No,
are
no,
just
I mean,
things
I
that
think I love
caught my
it, right?
attention.
Like, if we are giving so much appreciation for them being like, there is feast and there is the store, then we should also question them for like,
Yeah. And you see that Spider-Man theory,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes so sense that you mentioned that. Oh, this is when he's using his strength unknown, is it
unbeknownst,
unknown,
unbeknownst to him.
unbeknownst. We learn new things every day. And he jumps and hits his head. So 100% makes sense. And obviously, one thing that really bothered me in not only this Tom Holland movie but the other one as well is how late the mention of spider sense is.
I mean, it's kind of designed to trickle into that, and it's not an origin story. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
guess they wanted to keep control of the narrative on the spider sense, and they didn't want to tease it at all. So his spider sense could be the whole premise of the second movie.
Yeah, which for me it took it. That's why it's like one
Yeah.
of my worst Tom Holland Spider-Man movies because that's all that movie has for me, and I really because I imagine like if I go watch a Superman movie and he can't shoot laser from his eyes.
It's more about him discovering his strengths with time. He doesn't know his own abilities, and he doesn't know what spider sense is, and I don't think there is any mention of spider sense at all or any signs of him showing any kind of spider sense at all.
Yeah,
Uh,
which is why I
because
thought
if he has spider sense, right, then the whole second movie doesn't make sense,
yeah, exactly. Because
right?
I
So,
expect Spider-Man to have spider sense.
but that's why they didn't show you the origin story, so you leave your assumptions at home.
No, they didn't show me the assumption story, so I'm already assuming that this is just given that he has spidey sense. And so when he like walks into room and Ned is inside the
No,
room,
it's
all
an
those
it's an
things.
ability unlock. Like, you know, Tony can't fly in space initially, but then he can go roadie up and
Mm,
he can, right? It's just you discovering new things about yourselves.
yeah,
I mean, at least that's what I think, right?
yeah,
Maybe they totally forgot about Spider Sense for 1.5 movies, and they just suddenly realized now he has Spider Sense,
yeah,
and well, that's not what happened. So
yeah. Maybe we never know what's going in their mind. But to add on to it was the lack of wh- with great power comes great responsibility.
that's not in this movie.
Yeah, it only comes. I think it
In the
Aunt
third
May.
one,
Yeah, when she's like dying.
yeah,
Spoiler. Uh, but yeah, I think these were the things that
yeah.
I like really picked out. Just to wrap it up, we do the score.
What am I rating it on?
Just out of 10,
9,
9,
8 actually. 8, yeah, 8.
8. Perfect. I'm also an 8. I think it touches all the points for making it a fun movie. I've seen it like thrice in the last 2 weeks now.
Yeah, see, like just for a movie to be good enough that you can watch it 3 times in 2 weeks is.
Mm. And it's really good. I'm really excited for the fourth one and how it's gonna be. But I'm actually more excited to like do this with other
Yeah.
Spider-Man movies. Uh, yeah. Thanks for coming in today.
Cool
Yeah,
beans.
thanks for being a legend.
Is that wrap?
Awesome.
Wrap.
That's our time. Thank you for swinging by in between the scenes. Think you could juggle high school, homework, and fighting the vulture? Let us know in the comments. If this episode stuck to you like webbing on a wall, hit follow, drop us a 5-star rating, and make sure you never miss our next big adventure.